Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Fletcher Nelson. I'm a third grade teacher in Minnesota, and I've been trying this whole YouTube thing, so here we go. Today, we are gonna talk about advice and some tips for student teachers. Anytime I do like a Ask Me Anything or Q&A on Instagram, this is always a question that comes up. So it does for first year teachers, so that'll probably be my next video. But I decided with student teaching coming up, and I'm actually gonna have my first student teacher this fall, I thought this would be a good question to kind of answer. So I'm gonna go through with 10 tips or 10 words of advice for student teachers. And if you are a teacher watching this, please think of anything that I miss and then add in the comments. Give more advice or more tips for them to go through. And so if you are student teaching, make sure you check out the comments for hopefully more advice. Hopefully people listen and follow that direction. So, like I said, 10 tips, here we go. Tip number 1, bear with me, it is there on my phone. The first tip I have seems pretty obvious. Actually, the first, I'd say like couple are pretty obvious, but I'm gonna say be professional. This is, you represent your college, you represent your professors, and I know they tell you this to be professional, but I think it's one that you just need to say, so because I hear horror stories of teachers who have a student teacher come in and they're just so unprofessional, and it's not a good experience for either of them. So when I say be professional, I mean mainly two things. Like one is gonna be coming in and like how you are presenting yourself. Don't show up your first day in jeans. Like that's just not professional. A lot of schools only let you wear jeans on Fridays. So know the dress code, be professional there. I'm not saying like, for me, did I ever wear like a shirt and tie? No, I probably wore something like this with khakis, but I feel like that's casual, but like professional enough as a teacher. Like you want to be wearing something because you're gonna be moving around with kids, but also you're not gonna be wearing something you'd wear to a frat party, you know? So just be professional that way. The second thing, which I hear a lot of teachers talk about, is cell phones. Just put your cell phone away, because I'll admit this, like if there's times during the day when I feel like a vibrator go off and you're just tempted to look at it, and you don't need to do that. Not when you are student teaching. You won't do it when you're a teacher either because you're too busy. I will say as a classroom teacher, if I have my phone out, I'm doing one of three things: checking my email, responding to a parent on Seesaw, or taking pictures that I'm going to share on Seesaw with parents. And also sometimes, well, I'll check their Seesaw work. So if they submit work to me on Seesaw, I look at it on my phone too, because it's easier than going on my computer. So keep your phone put away. Otherwise, you're gonna be tempted to check it during the day, and the more comfortable you get in the room, the more you're gonna try to do it, and you don't need to be doing that. So keep your phone away and dress professional. There you go. Number 1 tip. All right, number 2. Again, seems pretty obvious, but be prepared. Remember, you are gonna be in this classroom with this teacher for 12 weeks, and this is your kind of your practice to be a teacher. You're the student teacher, you're learning as you go, and one thing you need to do is make sure you're being prepared. So have your stuff ready, know what you're gonna teach. This isn't a time to try to wing it. Put the effort in, be prepared, have your materials ready. That way, and that kind of goes into the tip number 1, is being professional. Because if you're prepared, you're being professional, means you're representing yourself well, you're representing your school well, you're representing your professors well. So be professional and be prepared. All right, moving on to tip number 3, ask questions. And I mean this in a few different ways. First of all, don't be afraid to ask your cooperating teacher questions. Like if you see them doing something or some of the decisions they make, like ask like, hey, how did you know to do that? Or what made you decide to do that? Or how did you know to teach it that way? Or what made you realize you needed to reteach that? Those are good questions, because it's gonna show that you're taking what you're seeing your teacher do, and then you're kind of trying to put the thought process behind there. But then also, as you're preparing your lessons, don't be afraid to ask questions. Again, you're the student teacher. Like, I have a student teacher this fall. I don't expect her to know exactly what she's doing, because if she did, she would already be a teacher. So ask questions. If you don't know, if you need help coming up with an activity for a lesson, ask. If you don't know what a standard means, ask. They're not gonna think you're dumb. They're gonna think you're, okay, good. They didn't try to wing it. They wanted to be prepared. They wanted it to be clarified, so they asked a question. So don't be afraid to ask questions about what your teacher's doing, and also don't be afraid to ask questions about what you should be doing. So tip number 3 is ask those questions. Don't be afraid. I know it can be awkward sometimes, but do it. All right. Number 4, be considerate. By being considerate, I mean, remember, you're coming into this teacher's classroom for 3 months, 4 months, I don't know, I think mine was 12 weeks. So be considerate. They're letting you, they volunteered to let you come in to their classroom. Again, I've heard some of my teacher friends tell horror stories about their student teachers who come in and either aren't prepared, or sometimes they come in and like just try to act like know-it-all type stuff too. It's like, okay, it's not the place, it's not your classroom, you're the student teacher, so be considerate. And just what I mean by that is if they have or do certain things and you're like, I don't want to do that, just remember that for your future classroom, but respect it while you're in there. For example, if you really want to do daily 5, but your cooperating teacher does more of a workshop model, who cares? You'll just know when you go in that you want to switch that up. If they use a clip chart for classroom management and you know you don't want to do that, that's fine. Just remember, be considerate. Like, they're using what works best for them, and that might not be works best for you. So just take mental notes about things that you maybe don't want to do in your own classroom, but you don't need to make comments about them to your teacher. Now, maybe, like I said, could you ask questions about like, hey, why did you choose this over this, or whatever? Sure, because that's just questioning like why, and you want to know more, but don't be rude about it. Be considerate. They're letting you into their classroom. Okay, sorry, looking at my phone for the next one. We're halfway there. Thanks for staying with me. Almost halfway there. Number 5, stay busy. So I know when I student taught, which was back in 2014, so like 6 years ago, we kind of eased in. Like the first week was kind of observing just the room, just to like get to know the kids and the routines, the procedures, to see how things are done. Again, because you're going to take mental notes, you're going to be considerate. And then the next week, like I think I took on like morning meeting and the read aloud. And then the next week I added in math, and then I added in and just added a subject every week until I was full-time teaching for 2 weeks. And then one thing got taken away each week until that last week I was observing again. So when I say stay busy, is if you're not teaching, be helpful, be busy. That's why you're going to keep your phone put away, because if they're doing a math lesson, you're going to be watching to see how your teacher teaches. I keep saying your teacher, you know what I mean, collaborative, cooperating teacher, but then also be looking for kids who maybe are struggling and who you can go help with once they're doing the independent work. Do those things, and you can do those without being told what to do. Like, you're going to be a teacher, and that's part of teaching, is recognizing who needs the extra help. So keep yourself busy by doing things like that. Walk around and check in with kids. If it's read to self time and everybody's doing independent reading, we'll go around and talk to a kid about what book they're reading. Keep yourself being productive, keep yourself being busy. Don't get in the habit of just sitting there and just waiting. So stay busy, stay productive, and sure, there'll be times when maybe you can use those times to be planning your own lessons, which is great too. Just make sure you're doing something to be productive and staying busy. Don't be unprofessional. Oh, man, I'm not good at this YouTube thing, but we're gonna keep going. All right, number 6, observe other classrooms. So again, in my experience, that last week kind of, where things started getting taken away from you, see if you can use some of that time to go check out other grade levels or other teachers of that grade level. I know that there has always been 4 teachers for my grade. We're gonna have 5 teachers this year, and we all teach so differently. My coworker Mark is like the calmest, just chill, like it's just, you go in, you're just like, everyone's just like, just relaxed, and it's awesome. And I know that if you came into my room, not that it's like chaotic, but it's not that just instant quiet and calm. And that's, we both do teach the same things, but we both do it very differently. So it's interesting to see how, because you'll see all the coworkers like at PLCs and stuff, you'll be around everybody, you'll be around the team, but it's honestly so interesting to go in and see how everyone teaches. And again, for different grade levels, like you don't know for sure what grade level you'll end up teaching when you get a job. You might have an idea of what you want to teach. So go check out other grades. Even if you think you want to teach kindergarten or first grade, go observe in a 5th grade classroom, because maybe you'll like what you see, or maybe you'll end up being stuck teaching 5th grade even though you didn't think you ever would. So try to get to those other classrooms, try to get to other grade levels and different times of the day too. See how some of them teach math, because maybe one does more of like a center approach and maybe one does more of like a whole group independent work time. Like there's just a bunch of different ways you can teach. So get to those other classrooms to observe them. Here we go. Okay. Number 7. All right. Number 7, I wrote down to try new things. So again, you're being considerate because you're in this classroom. But again, this is your chance to kind of try things that you think you're gonna wanna do in your new classroom or your future classroom. So you're the student, you're practicing your teaching, you're gonna learn more during this 12 weeks than you did the rest of your college classes. So put some of those ideas together. So if you wanna try something different, don't just come in and change everything one day, but talk with your cooperating teacher, be like, hey, I really kind of think I might want to try this for classroom management, behavior management. Could I try this? Could I implement this? This is what it'll look like. Or maybe you want to try switching up the writing time or how it's done. But have that conversation with your cooperating teacher, because what they can do too is watch, observe you, and give you some tips on that, which is coming up to one of my next words or what do I want to say? Words of advice? Doesn't make sense. Whatever. You get what I mean. So, yeah, I'm out of breath. I haven't talked this long in a long time. COVID problems. All right, so you're gonna observe other classrooms, you're gonna try new things, but you're gonna talk to your cooperating teacher about it first. Number 8, be coachable. Again, you are the student teacher. You're in there to grow as a teacher, to become ready to have your own classroom. So when your cooperating teacher gives you advice after watching you teach, listen and try what they're saying. They probably saw something and they're not trying to be rude. Like when my principal comes in and observes, he sees things that I just don't even think of. And I always get such good advice and I'm like, that makes sense, like I'm gonna try that. So be coachable. They're not trying to tell you that you did something wrong. They're just trying to say, hey, maybe it could have been better by doing this. And trust me, you realize that as a teacher, like every year there'll be something I'll be like, why did I do that? Why did I think that was okay? Or why did I think that was the best way to do something? And then I switch it up and it ends up being great. So be coachable. They're not trying to be rude to you. They're just trying to help you become a better teacher and to be ready to have your own classroom. Yeah, and again, like I said, a lot of these will tie into each other because when you're trying new things, yeah, you're gonna try out your new idea, but be coachable with it too, because they might have a suggestion to make it work a little bit better for you. All right, so after being coachable, you are also gonna be flexible. My cooperating teacher, when I was student teaching, she was awesome. I can't remember if I ever talked about her yet. So Karen, if you are seeing this, you were the best. She told me one of the biggest things you can do as a teacher is to be flexible, because there's always gonna be a day when maybe you were supposed to have an assembly and you're gonna get a call 5 minutes before saying, oh, just kidding, it's canceled, we can't do it, or the people didn't make it, something's gonna come up. Or you're gonna end up, I don't know, like things just come up constantly. A fire drill might happen during your read aloud. There might be, I don't know, there's tons of things that just happen. So make sure you're being flexible with yourself and with your students and with your teaching. Just know that things and plans change, and that's okay. You might think you're gonna have this awesome science lesson, and as soon as it starts, it's like, you're like, whoa, 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 they're not getting it like I thought they would. Then you need to be flexible there. Stop, slow down, scrap what you had planned, and just focus on getting the content down, explaining it a different way, and making those adjustments as needed. So be flexible with your teaching, be flexible with your schedule, just learn to be flexible and kind of, I don't know, be optimistic about things, and don't let it stress you out, which isn't always, it's sometimes easier said than done. But yeah, being flexible is huge as a teacher. So try to practice that as when you're student teaching, because it'll help you a ton when you have your own classroom. All right. This is already number 10. Dang. My last one, number 10. Have fun. Honestly, I just always told myself, like, man, I love doing this, and I wasn't even getting paid at the time. Like, you're doing it for free. You're paying the college to let you go in and work Like, it's insane. But I loved it, and I had so much fun, and I wouldn't have traded those experiences for anything. And that's how I kind of knew going into it. I'm like, Kate, I know teachers don't get paid a lot of money, but I just loved doing that when I was paying to do it. So enjoy the time, get to know the kids. If your class does like a morning meeting, participate in that. Sometimes it's easier just to watch. Go sit down and get there in the circle right with them. I also remember my cooperating teacher saying, like, there's like a fine line, because you don't want to be like the kids' friends, but you don't want to be, you know, super strict. And she mentioned like that I did a good job of finding that balance. So if we went outside at the end of the day and it was a nice day and they were playing kickball, did I play with them? Yes. Was that to a point where they like didn't respect me and they just thought I was just trying to be their friend? No. So you got to find that good balance and have fun with them, get to know them, talk with them during snack. I know that can be a time when you want to try to run and make copies or do some planning or something, but that's such a great time to play a game with some of the kids and get to know them. And if they like you, they're gonna respect you. And again, not like it's like a friend, but you know what I mean? Like, you're getting to know them, you're building that relationship with them, and then they're gonna be willing to listen to what you say. You'll hear a lot of people say, like, focus on relationships before content. And that's a huge thing, because you can go in and try to teach a class full of 25 kids, but if they don't know you and they don't respect you, they're not gonna learn from you. So take that time and enjoy the kids, get to know them, and you'll have the best time. So those are my, again, I don't even know how I want to word this. Those are my 10 tips, or my words of advice for student teachers. I know some of them are pretty basic and generic, but honestly, if you can follow those and kind of just show up and be prepared and be professional and have fun while you're doing it, you're gonna have a great experience. If you're gonna be coachable, you're gonna be flexible, you're gonna be asking questions, you're gonna be observing other classrooms, and the time's gonna fly by. So if you are a teacher, please leave other words of advice for student teachers below. Student teachers, if you have other questions, leave them below as well. I've been really good at, I think so, of going through and commenting back to people. And if I need to do a follow-up video on anything, I definitely can. So let me know. Otherwise, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for bearing with me on this one. And you are going to subscribe and like and comment, because you're gonna tell me a tip or ask another question. And then we're gonna see the next one. All right. Thanks for hanging out, and if you're a first year teacher, I feel like that'll be the next one we have up. Why do I always do this? One day, guys. All right, bye.